Good afternoon to our Israel Brief family from all around the world. I get messages from you from Saskatchewan, where I wake up with some of you every morning, to Cape Town, to the United States, all over Africa and everywhere in between. I am so delighted every single Monday to Thursday to spend this time with you. As always, we're brought to you by Lay of the Land. We bring you your news headlines hot off the press right here in Israel. And you join me, Rolene Marks. I hope you've got yourselves a cup of tea, a cup of coffee, hey, maybe even a whiskey or two. These days, we certainly seem to need it. So let's get into those top stories. It is day 160 of Israel's war with Hamas. Every single day, I think to myself, I cannot imagine what the families of hostages, what the hostages themselves are enduring. It's just... in Israel, I have to be honest, we go about our daily lives in a fake sense of normal, but we are definitely very, very much struggling with what happened on the 7th of October and the subsequent war. And the health ministry predicts that we are headed for a PTSD disaster. I don't think that you need any kind of formal predictions to have stated that. I think that it's pretty much where we're headed. But we have the support of you guys, and that makes everything a whole lot easier to bear. So let's take a look at those top stories, and we begin with humanitarian aid, which has been a big, big subject in the media and in Israel's correspondence and talks with allied countries. Last night, Israel's, or the IDF's chief spokesperson, Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari, said that Israel plans to flood Gaza by land, sea and air with humanitarian aid. He says this is a prime focus, making sure that civilians get the aid they need. He said, but one of the big problems is Hamas taking that aid. Secretary of State for the United States, Antony Blinken, said that this must be Israel's first priority, is ensuring the safety of civilians and making sure that they get their aid. Israel has been sending in aid and coordinating aid with our allies through the land. Yesterday we spoke about that pilot program via the sea. The first shipment from Cyprus, from the port of Nicosia, has arrived. A second shipment is being prepared, funded by the United Arab Emirates. And of course there are those airdrops that I witnessed myself last week when I was on the border at Nahal Oz army base with Gaza. We could see them for ourselves as they landed. The airdrops are coming from France, from Germany, from the Netherlands, the United States, Jordan, Egypt, and countries working together with the IDF to make sure that this happens. But there have been a few significant issues. Last week, 5 Palestinians, including 2 children, were killed when a parachute failed to deploy and the box of humanitarian aid landed on them. Yesterday, the British Defence Ministry said that they are suspending the airdrops because of the danger to civilians on the ground and looking at getting their aid in through another mechanism. So there are a lot of challenges. I think to squarely blame Israel is extremely irresponsible and lazy on behalf of the media. And speaking of the media, the Arab media reported today that Hamas had executed a clan leader inside the Gaza Strip who they accused of collaborating with Israel to ensure the distribution of aid. They accused him also of stealing that aid. Now, Hamas had put a message on a website that is linked to the terror group warning civilians in Gaza not to cooperate with Israel with regards to aid. And this again shows how Hamas are prepared to sacrifice their civilians who need this aid the most in order to push that narrative of Israel starves Palestinians. And it is the holy month of Ramadan. We are very, very sensitive to that. We want to make sure that everybody is well taken care of as much as we possibly can in a time of war. Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu, addressing AIPAC in the United States the other night, said that an incursion into Rafah, this is the last remaining major stronghold of Hamas, is important for winning the war. He said that there are still battalions inside of Rafah, and if they are not dealt with, if we do not dismantle them, then Hamas could regroup and re-attack Israel. The plan to go into Rafah has faced a tremendous amount of criticism, including from President Biden, Foreign Minister Cameron, or Foreign Secretary Cameron from the United Kingdom, and various other allies. However, the United States does seem to be softening their stance, saying that they will support a very, very targeted or limited campaign in Rafah. What we also know is that with regards to aid, because this is the main concern with an Israeli incursion into Rafah, that there seems to have been some arguments between the Defense Minister Yoav Gallant and Prime Minister Netanyahu. The defense minister is of the opinion that the Palestinian Authority should work in conjunction with Israel to help distribute aid, while suggesting that the prime minister doesn't want this for political motives. Meanwhile, Israel has said that what we could possibly do for the safety of civilians is remove them from the strip into a humanitarian island so that they are out of harm's way. And again, Hamas throw out these civilian casualty numbers. Everybody accepts them without even questioning the makeup of those numbers. And I urge you, there are some really, really good articles. One published in a Tablet magazine, that's tabletmag.com, I think it is, or just Google Tablet magazine, about the numbers, the casualty numbers, and how Hamas come up with those numbers. Very, very important to get that. I mean, it astounds me that the media gobble up those numbers without question, but have launched and absolutely pilloried the Princess of Wales, Princess Catherine, for doing some edits to a photo shoot. To me, it's just so bizarre how they can focus on pixels of an innocent family photograph, yet accept without question what Hamas tells them. It just boggles my mind. And on the subject of Hamas, let's talk about one of their major supporters, and that is South Africa, or rather the South African government, because the people of South Africa, I'm sure, do not support Hamas. In fact, I know that is how I'm sure that they do not support Hamas. The Foreign Minister, Naledi Pandor, announced yesterday that the government will arrest South Africans who hold dual South African Israeli citizenship, who are serving in the IDF or who have served in the IDF. She has warned they will be arrested on arrival into South Africa. Now, how they back this up is they use what they call the mercenary law. However, on further inspection, the mercenary law does not prohibit enlisting in a foreign army. It does prohibit assisting, like financing, recruiting, training, that kind of assistance, but not enlistment. Whether or not it is they will be able to carry out this threat is another story. But my opinion, and this is just my opinion, is that South Africa, who have launched a legal war against the state of Israel on behalf of Hamas, are sending a message to other countries that they should be following suit. Staying in Africa and ending on a good note, President Herzog accepted the credentials from ambassadors from a variety of countries yesterday, including 2 African countries, Eswatini, formerly known as Swaziland, and Burundi, and hailed them for being friendly African countries who Israel can always rely on. The ambassador said that they were so happy to be back in the capital, in the holy city. And one thing that we have noticed is that incredible African countries are sending or will be sending shortly workers through to Israel to help our farmers who have been severely impacted by labor losses because of the war. And it is a win-win all around. So that brings me to the end of today's Israel Brief. Guys, you know what to do this weekend. Check out our website at www.layoftheland.online. We are always here on YouTube at the Israel Brief. And of course, we are on Facebook at Lottel's site, on X at Lay of the Land 5. I want you guys to have an amazing weekend. Spend it with your families. You're my family. I wish you all a wonderful and restful weekend. Shabbat Shalom. And as I always say, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. I'll catch you again on Monday. Bye for now.